Welcome back to the At Home with Roby show. I'm Ashley Davis along with Trent Haston from the Roby Family of Companies. Visit us today at andrewroby.com. That's Andrew, ROBY.com. Or you can always find us on the WBT.com homepage. Trent, before the break, we had a great conversation about mountain houses and everything that we're doing with that division up in Blowing Rock. We're now joined by David Carroll, one of our valued customers at the Andrew Roby Company. And Trent, David has been a valued client of ours for quite a few years, not only in the mountains, but we've done a lot of work for him in Charlotte as well.
Yeah, Ash, thanks. It's not just Blowing Rock, it's Boone and Banner Elk and that whole region up there. So let's clear that up because David's house is not in Blowing Rock.
That is right. I apologize. I gotta look at a map next time we do a show, Trent.
But it's really cool to have David here. One good thing about doing the radio show and a blessing about our business and the Roby family and Andrew Roby, where we're from, is David has always worked with my brother Travis from inception, and I've even gotten to know over the last couple of years David's son Macon and some of David's acquaintances and friends, but I've never formally shaken David's hand and met him, so it was good this morning to tell David thank you personally and welcome him to the show. David, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So before we jump into the mountain division and what we've done for David up there, we were standing in the hallway recollecting on how we met David and talking about something that, I came into Doug Ditch's year 47 and came in out of college to a 50-year business, and I was a little foolish. I wanted to grow, and my dad and my granddad said, "You're crazy, but go ahead." But that was 2001, and David is with Wells Fargo. He's a leader and a bastion for our city, and we're so grateful for that. But back then it was Wachovia,
yep,
which I've been a banking client of Wells Fargo since 1979 is what my thing says. I don't know if I log in on a computer, but our big inflation point that I always talked about was the banking industry in Charlotte. And David, you're a big part of that, and that's kind of you were a leader at Wachovia when we met.
Well, I've been with Wells Fargo Wachovia for 36 years. It's
Wow.
been great for me and my family, and I've lived in Charlotte 3 times. Moved here for the last time in 1999. And as you and I were chatting about earlier, for the first 20 years of my career, we moved every 2 years as we were moving around buying banks. And my wife got accustomed to having a new house to decorate every 2 years, and we moved here, and after the 3rd year she wanted to move, and I didn't want to move, so I said, just do something to this house. And that was the first time we used Roby. I was familiar with you guys from back in the early 80s, the first time we moved to Charlotte in 81. A very good friend of mine was having a renovation done to their house, and your sign was out front, and I asked him about it, and he said emphatically, it's the only people we would consider using. And I remembered that from 1981.
Really?
We moved away, came back in 83. He was doing another project that you guys were doing for him. And he, again, said, this was a guy I worked for at the time. He said, it's the only people I'd use. And so when fast forward, we moved back to Charlotte for the 3rd time in 99, and my wife got the itchy trigger finger to move. And I said, we're not moving, just do something to this house. And I think it was 2002 was the first of 4 projects you've done on our house here. Every one of them's been terrific and fun and well done. My wife loves your people. The guy that drives the truck that picks up
Bobby,
the construction debris, they're pals. They see each other in traffic and blow the horn at each other. And Travis has a key to our house if we ever need anything. It's just, I don't know, we feel like part of the family. So.
Well, I hope Dad's smiling down because, when I spin the story and the history on mine and Travis's plate, we never had signs until we came along, right? So the 81 had job signs.
Somebody had a Roby sign in 81.
I'm completely joking. We didn't have a cool, no.
That was the original marketing department.
That was the original. All we ever had was a couple clean trucks and job signs was the marketing that
you had more than that. You had a great reputation.
Thank you.
That's what got people to.
And we were saying earlier, you said I think you said Roby by you let Teresa doing these 4 main projects at your house in Charlotte. Roby has saved you millions of dollars over
Yeah,
the
it would have been a
years.
new house every time. This time it's just been a project. So
That's a story. My dad bought my mom a camper at Spring-Made Beach Resort. She always wanted a beach house. When I was a kid, she was wanting like a $400,000 beach house, and my dad just said, yeah. Then she wanted a mountain house. Yeah. He was so tight. And about '04, he bought her a camper in Spring-Made, and a permanent camper. You know, it's got the aluminum around the base of it. And I gave him a real hard time because I was trying to be this business guy, and I said, "You're buying a liability, not an asset." And he looked at me. He said, "Boy," he said, "I spend $40,000 and it shuts your mom up." He said, "Storm comes along, blows this thing away. I spend another $40,000 and shuts your mom up." And I never understood that. Now I'm married and have 4 kids, and man, it was genius.
That is funny. Folks, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to the At Home with Roby show. We're honored to have David Carroll with us, one of our clients, one of our customers at the Andrew Roby Company. David, you said you moved to Charlotte, and the third time, that's when you started using Andrew Roby. You moved around a lot. Talk a little bit about just how Charlotte, you moved around, came back here, and then the third time was the charm for Andrew Roby. It's great to see what's happened in the city of Charlotte.
Charlotte's really grown up a lot in the last 15 years, and it's been a confluence of things. It's a fabulous city, the quality of living, the location. Our company has grown and flourished here as we grew into other businesses and attracted people from the Northeast. There was a time in my career when if you wanted to do certain types of banking, investment banking, asset management, you could really only do that in places like New York, Chicago, or Los Angeles. And now all of those functions are here. It's very easy to attract people from other parts of the country here, the quality of life, and the complexity of the work that goes on here is on a par with anything in London, any other financial center in the world, Frankfurt. And you had Johnson and Wales. I mean, you know the history of the city better than I do, but it's just an attractive place to live and easy to attract people to come here.
So, David, I've gotten to know Macon over the last couple of years, and I've always been intrigued from knowing the type of family man and the type of man you are with your 2 sons, similar to what I think how my dad treated me and Travis and how we get along, and I watched that through my brother. But then I got to know Macon, and Macon talked about what'd you get when they were 16, a Bronco? What'd you have, an old Bronco?
Well, when his brother Graham turned 16, he wanted his first car. It was a Tahoe I bought him. They wanted to jack it up and do all kinds of off-road stuff to it.
In Eastover.
And I said, no, that's your drive-to-school safe vehicle. So he and his brother said, screw the old man. So they pooled their money, and they bought a 73 International Scout. And we still have it. Anything you can see or touch on it has been replaced or rebuilt, and it's like a tank, and it's a ton of fun. But that's their vehicle that they've bought it, and we've rebuilt the engine twice, changed transmission, brakes, just everything. It's been awesome.
And that led to the most recent project at Macon's house is.
Well, the most recent one that was of any consequence was thanks to you guys. You gutted their kitchen and redid it. Macon, like a lot of guys, has married way over his head, and his wife Aubrey's just a blessing for him and our whole family. But as soon as he did that, he and I have been working on a deck for about the past 6 weeks on the back of his house, and I know he's probably pestered you for ideas and technique or whatever, but we're about 90% finished with it.
I think he built it sturdy enough to park that car on top of the deck.
Oh, we could park several.
Oh, that's where the Scout parks? You pulled around the house?
We could easily park it on there.
No, I stopped by his house maybe about 8 months or a year ago, and he took me back there and started asking me questions about his deck. I think he took me to the garage fridge, got me loaded up, and said, "Hey, now I got some questions for you, buddy." Yeah. So, no, that's cool. That's fun times.
That's funny. All right, we're going to take a break here. Can you hang with us, David?
Sure.
All right, cool. We'll stay with us through the break. When we come back, we're going to talk a lot about the house that Andrew Roby built, the home, actually, that we built for David Carroll up in the North Carolina mountains with our mountain division up in Blowing Rock, Boone, Linville. Anything I missed?
Banner Elk.
Got Banner Elk. We got Newland. We'll get a map before the end of the show.
Yeah.
All right, you're listening to the At Home with Roby show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.